Okay, hi guys. Welcome back very quickly to a new video, this time on hematopathology. Now, you must be wondering that I just loaded a video last week, and I mean, it's been 3 4 days maybe, and I've come back with a new video. The reason is, firstly, a big shout out to all of you, a big thank you to all of you. We are a 1000 subscribers strong family now. 1000 सब्सक्राइबर्स हो गए हैं, समथिंग विच इज़ वेरी ओवरवेलमिंग फॉर मी बिकॉज मैंने नहीं एक्सपेक्ट किया था दैट आई गेट सो मच लव फ्रॉम यू ऑल, so much appreciation from you all. And and I mean, I had just expected maybe 40 50 friends of mine will join, those with whom I used to discuss these problems. And but I mean, it is really overwhelming, and all the comments that I keep receiving, the messages that I get, they motivate me, and that is why I get so excited when I learn something new, to share it with you. You're like my family, all of you who have subscribed to me or who watch my videos. I mean, I just feel like I have some knowledge, some information, let me share it with you guys. So that is the reason actually why I am making this video so late. I was look, I'm a resident, senior resident myself. I am not an expert in the field of bone marrow transplant, or I have never claimed to be an expert in the field of hematpath or pathology in general. I just share with you what I learn from experts, from seniors, or where I felt I was wrong and then was corrected, and I learned through my mistakes. I learned through seeing these patients, through seeing their slides actually, with patients, of course. And I was going through this wonderful article. I have shared that article in the end. I have taken some tables also from that article. All of this is not my property. I have no monetary interest. I have no conflict of interest. But it is a. I mean, I was reading it, and it is full of so much information. Only thing is that you can't download it. You have to buy it. But it is, thank you to the authors that they made it free read. It is a free read paper available online. I have referenced it in the end. Please go and read it if you are interested in the actual clinical hematology, the actual hematpath. What is, the most recent thing in hematology is CAR-T, and after CAR-T it is transplants. Not, I won't call it most recent, but these things are, even in benign lesions you are going to use transplant, you are using transplant. And it will be, even in India, slowly in sickle and thalassemias, it is being introduced in, it is being done in big centers. So, I was reading this article on bone marrow changes, and it is so comprehensive and so good, full of so much information. And I'm sure मैं सब नहीं बता पाऊंगी. मैंने एक अपना gist जो बनाया, जो समझा, I'm going to share that with you. For the residents, you might feel ये क्या है, this is not important. This is very important. जो हम पढ़ते हैं वो तो सिर्फ एक ट्रेनिंग है. एज अ JR, what you're getting is just a training. This is what you're going to see, when you are practicing hematpath, when you are practicing in your lab, in your private lab. These slides will come to you. And I have always mentioned, a pathologist is a clinician who is not treating a patient. So you need to know all this. You need to know what a drug does to the bone marrow to actually know. You need to know that if you get a marrow of a bone marrow transplant patient, how will it look? And what else do you need to ask the clinician? Why are the days important? Why do you need to know कि autologous है कि allogenic है कि क्या है? Why do you need to know if it is a myeloablative or a non-myeloablative? All these terms you're going to understand. मतलब जितना मुझे इसका knowledge हुआ. So I just want to share this with you. I'll be very superficial with what I share. I invite any of you to discuss this topic with me. I might not know a lot of things in this topic. Please tell me, teach me also. I love discussing. It is always a bi-directional thing. मुझे messenger में you can message, you can comment and tell me if I'm telling you something which is not correct or it is incomplete, and my apologies in the beginning only, and I'm going to improvise, and maybe in the next lecture add those things also, giving you full credit for that you have told me that. So let us begin. I'm really excited for this topic. So what I'm going to be telling you is very very superficial points to sensitize you, because हमारे normal residency में we are not taught this. कि bone marrow, I mean, I'm not talking about like really great institutes like AIMS, but yeah, in general we are not taught this. So I just want to sensitize you to एक bone marrow transplant क्या है, because it is now, you need to know it. And what are the things that as a pathologist you'll come across the terms you'll come across when you are reading about BMT. So here it is. Okay, so this image is from the Google platform. When you are talking about a donor for any transplant का मतलब होता है हम अपना body से organ हटा रहे हैं because that organ is not working properly, and we are taking an organ from a matched individual. Now, what does matched individual mean? All of you are residents, or if you are second year pathology students, you must be knowing about HLA typing. Please go and read what HLA typing is, because that is what donor match is about. Okay, so I'm not going to be discussing that because I don't want to stretch. This is not a normal general pathology class, but when we want a donor to give us an organ, be it kidney or anything, we match the HLA antigens. ठीक है, हम HLA मैचिंग करते हैं just to see कि for solid tissue like kidney it is more than 75% at least जो पैटर्न है HLA का on chromosomes, it should be similar between the donor and the recipient, ताकि organ को body foreign समझ के immunity response mount करके reject ना करे. ठीक है, and you know how many types of HLA there are and all that I'm not taking right now. If you want, message me, I'll take a class for that. वो general pathology इस समय, and और Robbins में बहुत अच्छा दिया हुआ है HLA type 1 type 2 and all that. So वो फिर that will waste the time because ये बहुत बड़ा है and I just don't want to stretch the lecture too much. So HLA is present on specific sites on your chromosome, and जो donor का chromosome पे जो HLA का location है वही रेसिपिएंट में एटलीस्ट अप टू 75% मैच करना चाहिए. दैट इज व्हाट HLA मैचिंग इज. एंड उसके बेसिस पे दो टाइप के ट्रांसप्लांट होते हैं मेन, दैट इज ऑटोलोगस एंड एलोजेनिक. ऑटोलोगस मीन्स खुद मेरी ही बॉडी से वो ऑर्गन निकाल के ट्रांसप्लांट मेरे ही अंदर किया जाएगा आफ्टर ट्रीटिंग दैट स्पेसिमेन जो मेरे अंदर से निकाला जाएगा. नाउ सॉलिड ऑर्गन में ये पॉसिबल नहीं है. समथिंग लाइक इन अ किडनी, मेरी खराब किडनी निकाल के मेरे अंदर नहीं डाली जा सकती है. So, but this is possible in something called the bone marrow transplant. Supposing I am suffering from sickle cell disease or something like a benign lesion, it is possible कि मेरी ही body से आप marrow निकालो, उसमें से specific stem cells को target करके culture करके number बढ़ा लो, बाकी defective cells को मार दो, and then you re-inject through infusion those stem cells. I'll show you how it is done. Allogenic is to take it from someone else after getting the matching done. Autologous में matching का उतना importance नहीं, because वो मेरी अपनी body का है. Allogenic में है. Now you will say कि मैं खुद बीमार हूँ तब भी autologous का क्या point है? Autologous कहीं कहीं BMT से prefer की जाती है क्योंकि graft versus host reaction जो भी में immunity mount होती है against any foreign substance, अगर body को लग रहा है ये foreign है, मैं क्रोमोसोमली बॉडी में उसे नहीं पहचान पा रही, तो वो इम्यूनिटी माउंट करके उस चीज को मार देती है. उसको वो फॉरेन लग रहा है कि ये तो हमारा नहीं है. ऑटोलोगस में वो प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती है. हाउएवर ऑटोलोगस में डिजीज रिस्पॉन्स बहुत अच्छा नहीं आता है नॉर्मली. एंड करेक्ट मी इफ आई एम रॉन्ग, दिस इज व्हाट आई हैव अंडरस्टूड. एलोजेनिक में ग्राफ्ट वर्सेस होस्ट डिजीज का डेवलपमेंट के चांसेस ज्यादा रहते हैं बिकॉज वो फॉरेन है. बट हम ये मानते हैं कि जब HLA टाइपिंग 75% तक हो जा रही है, when the HLA is getting typed at around 75%, then and then we give a lot of immunosuppressive therapy, then the chances of the body rejecting that transplanted marrow or those transplanted cells is very very less, and we can manage that patient. Also, the patient will be getting healthy donor cells rather than trying to isolate healthy stem cells from my own body. Now you are going to ask me, sometimes I am saying cells, sometimes I am saying stem cells. You cannot transplant already matured cells. Now please be careful, I'm only talking about bone marrow right now. This is hematpath. Forget solid organs now. Okay, so if I'm transplanting supposing my सबसे preferred match is the sibling match, because, and I'll tell you what it is called. So if I'm getting my brother or my sister to give me a bone marrow material, then I am not taking out their marrow and putting it in me. No, the marrow is taken out and it is processed for something known as stem cells. You all must have heard about totipotent and pluripotent, and then there's an entire spectrum of different types of stem cells. Some of them which are mature like in liver etc, which regenerates, which have pluripotent stem cells which first differentiate into a differentiated organ, and then they have the capacity कि अगर मैं liver, if I cut the liver into half, then that half will regenerate. And then there are some which are totipotent stem cells. stem cells which have no differentiation direction, and we stimulate them to give ki liver banega, ki lung banega, ki kya banega. And then there are other morphologies of stem cells too, which again you have to read it from the Robbins. I'm not taking it here. Why we take stem cells in blood is they are the most benign form of cells, the most primitive form of cells, whom we can push by putting synthetic chemicals like colony forming units, etc., to make whatever cell we like. To make myeloid, to make erythroid, to make megakaryocyte, we can stimulate them to make whatever cells we like. And since they are as a cancer person, as an oncologist or a hematopathologist or a pathologist, why to go into the different routes, that there is some genetic problem leading to development of a cancer. So what what the doctors believe is, or a hematologist believes is, that when I'm putting fresh healthy stem cells, then I'm eliminating bad stem cells in the body of the diseased person and giving him new stem cells which have no mutation. So now the cells that will be formed will not be cancer cells. They will be healthy cells of the bone marrow, and hence we can treat the patient's cancer. This is what a basic layman way of understanding what stem cell therapy is. Now now there are two other things. हम सिर्फ not only from the marrow, I can take the stem cells from umbilical cord of a newborn baby, which when gets severed has floating stem cells in it, which are equally potent. And you must have heard of stem cell cord blood banking, which is for the same purpose, that if this baby develops some genetic anomaly, we can take those stem cells and infuse into the baby. उसी का stem cell है ये. That is a form of autologous bone marrow transplant. Then there's something known as haploidentical bone marrow transplant, which is taking the marrow elements of a family member like mother, father, or brother. They are partly identical to me. 50% of the genes match. So that is what haploidentical is. It is kind of an allogenic transplant. So synergistic transplant, you get only like is the best transplant. It is between twins, and only in 25% cases can we achieve that. Matched unrelated donor is actually haploidentical. Matched unrelated donor is someone who's not related to me, maybe someone from out next state, next city, I don't know, but the marrow matched, the HLA matched around 75%. And then there is haploidentical bone marrow transplant, which is between me and my parents or my sibling. There are some other terms which you have to know, that when we are taking blood, see, these are the steps. Pre-transplantation, we need to prepare. I'll tell you how we prepare the patient and then how we go about it. Then we prepare for the transplant. We take out, when we are taking out that marrow material, we go through something known as plasmapheresis to kill जो donor का जो material हम निकाल लें, any sort of AB or RH antigen reactivity we remove by plasmapheresis. Okay, and then we have to perform something in the recipient, that is T cell depletion. Okay, so that it does not attack the donor, the T cells do not attack the donor material that will infuse. Purging of red cells is purging of cells which are not required from the donor marrow that we have taken, which are mature, which will hinder in the transplant, which will cause problems in the recipient, वो भी हटाने होते हैं. ठीक है. We do that by apheresis machine, where we can do plasmapheresis also. Leukapheresis is isolating, जो हमने material निकाला उसमें से हम WBCs isolate करते हैं, buffy coat, that is known as leukapheresis. And then you can, of course, as I said, take material from the umbilical cord blood also. Now these are the pros and cons. I'll quickly read. Autologous pros available for most patients, अपनी खुद की body है. No need for matched donors, no GVHD, and partial engraftment may be beneficial. Means if you are dying, then I'll give you 10 more years to live, something like that. Cons, it may need 100% gene modification, which is not possible, let me tell you. Viral reservoirs are reduced but not eliminated. And of course, this is not a 100% thing, because you are already diseased, you have the cancer, and we are trying to genetically modify your cells and then put it back in you. So it is not a 100% thing. Common limitations for both of them are that they are high cost and not possible in resource limited setting, require a lot of expertise and training, and of course both have mortalities and morbidities. Allogenic transplant, it is a complete replacement of host cells with donor cells, as is written over here. potential annihilation. If there is, you have heard of PTLDs, post-transplant lymphoproliferative disorders. These are caused by EBV, Epstein-Barr virus. So that is there in autologous, but the chances of that happening in allogenic transplant is quite less. Okay, and they do not require any genetic modification in most of the cases. Again, matching of donors is the biggest problem, and that is why some people who go for autologous transplant. Possibility of finding a match donor with CCR5 deletion is even more remote. 100% donor chimerism may be required. I'll tell you what chimerism is when we move ahead. But basically, it should be chimerism is when we test molecularly that the transplant has been successful. In non-myeloablative marrows, I'll tell you what it is. उसमें क्या करते हैं non-myeloablative? We leave some part of the diseased marrow, and then we add the healthy marrow, and when you genetically test such a person, the peripheral bloods of such patients, दो type के genetic material मिलने चाहिए, one that of the donor and one that of the recipient. That is chimerism. Autologous में you won't get that. I am getting my own material, genetic material, so of course there cannot be any foreign material. But in non-myeloablative, where we are not completely destroying the diseased marrow before putting in donor's healthy marrow, you might get chimerism. Greater chances of morbidity in module 2, GVHD. I told you that in the beginning. So there are three types of, clinically there are three types of transplants that you can go for: non-myeloablative, reduced intensity conditioning, and myeloablative. Basically what we do is, when the disease is too much, it is too spreading, it is very malignant, we completely remove the marrow, including the healthy stem cells जो मानो 5% ही थे एक diseased body में. When it is a benign disease or a lesser load disease, we go for something known as non-myeloablative. And reduced intensity conditioning is between the two cases. Now the purpose of doing this is, let me just highlight it for you, is to create something called as pancytopenia, means complete absence of disease cells from the marrow or partial absence of disease cells. And we have to see कि the amount of pancytopenia किसमें कितना है, because this sometimes or most of the times depends on the marrow reconstitution या marrow recovery जो होगी after doing the transplant. So in a non-ablative marrow, there is minimal pancytopenia and it is for short duration. Marrow recovery इसमें अच्छी होती है, and as I said, high disease burden में इसको नहीं किया जाता है. So the chances that you are leaving a lot of diseased stem cells is less. The clinician is expecting that the healthy stem cells will take over the diseased stem cells and reduce the disease intensity. Reduced intensity conditioning is something in between the two phases with moderate pancytopenia, and recovery can go anywhere. Totally myeloablative therapy in a very very badly affected bone marrow, जहाँ patient almost you cannot recover the patient. इसमें patient pancytopenia maximum होता है, कई बार transplant के बाद भी ये recover नहीं हो पाता है, इतना badly marrow chemotherapy में चला जाता है. But otherwise also there's no other chance, no other way of doing it, because the marrow you will either die with the tumor, or you will you have 10-20% window of living maybe with the transplant. And this is the amount of immunosuppression that you need, it increases as you go towards non-ablative, and the amount of myelosuppression and toxicity increases if it is ablative. देखो, if there is host में any immune cell left, it is going to act on the foreign allogenic cell जो तुम उसमें डाल रहे हो, which you are providing. So immune response is more in non-myeloablative marrows or reduced intensity conditioning. So we need to give too many immunosuppressors, because there are host cells in the recipient which can kill that marrow. But toxicity is more in completely myeloablative, जहाँ the word myeloablative means, myelo is marrow, ablative means to obliterate, खत्म कर दिया marrow. Non-myeloablative means खत्म नहीं किया. Reduced intensity में intensity कम करके marrow को condition कर रहे हैं कि दूसरे cell को accept कर सके. मतलब तुम्हारे घर में मेहमान आने वाला है, या तो तुमको कमरे से they'll throw you out and give your room to the guest. That is one case, that is myeloablative, that your room has gone. Second होता है that okay, no, there is a guest room, so you are in your room very happy, the guest is in their room, means the parents conditioned you that there will be a guest in the house, so behave normally, but you get your room. Reduced intensity is when you have to share that room with the guest, but in all the three conditions you know that there's a guest coming, so that is, you are the recipient marrow, the guest is the donor marrow. Okay. Now these are the agents that you give. So in myeloablative, busulfan, cyclophosphamide, etoposide. Then in reduced intensity, melphalan, busulfan, and fludarabine, busulfan, thiotepa. And in non-myeloablative, fludarabine and cyclophosphamide and bendamustine and fludarabine. So busulfan is a more toxic drug rather than fludarabine, etc. So this is for clinicians basically, and this I just wanted to show you. There was this paper on AML where they were assessing the eligibility of adult patients for bone marrow transplant. They just wanted to see that how many patients have gone for myeloablative conditioning and non-myeloablative. So see total, you can see that 1562 patients they went for myeloablative, and 1425 around. This is hidden actually. This is I think 2000. My picture is hiding this thing for me. I am not very clearly, I'm not able to see this. Here I can see a number 1425. So more patients in AML or in leukemia went for a non-myeloablative therapy with a good recovery rather than for myeloablative. Okay. This again you'll get in on the net. You can go through the preparations of pre-preparations of how to go for how to collect a sample. It is just like bone marrow, okay? But preconditioning जो मैंने बताई अभी, that is important. Now this is a nice figure to tell you again. This is from Encyclopedia Britannica .in. This is the patient in chemotherapy, and this patient needs to be infused. We take stem cell from the bone marrow or from the cord blood. Stem cell is then separated and incubated with, like here in bone marrow, what we are interested in is CD34 positive stem cells. Okay, a good source of these stem cells is peripheral blood, or in a conditioned patient, peripheral blood or umbilical cord. If you have umbilical cord blood stored somewhere like in cord blood banking, we need CD34 positive cells, and we use a protocol known as Ishaj protocol. We take those cells by labeling it with antibody. We store the sample in very very cold conditions under 0 degree. We culture those stem cells and multiply them so that the number increases, and then we infuse it into the patient. This is mota what is the procedure. This is not, I've missed a lot of steps. I'm just giving you an idea of what you do. This is the Ishaj protocol. Initially, we used to use Neubauer's chamber to count number of mononuclear cells or monocytic cells in the peripheral blood, just to give a sense that okay, these could be CD34 positive stem cells, and infuse that. Now flow cytometry has made it very easy for any and everyone to go for this therapy. And that too, this is a modified Ishaj protocol. Initially, you have multiple tubes to perform this. CD45 bhi lagao, CD34 bhi lagao. Ab now a single bead, single platform test is done where a CD34 positive bead is put, and then that bead attracts all the CD34 positive stem cells, and you can see, okay, this is the population, and yeah, it is adequate, and you can go ahead and get the transplant done. So go ahead and read the Ishaj protocol. I'm not an expert on this. If someone can explain better than me, please explain it to me. I'm gonna give you full credit and with your name, and explain it to the other people. So this is an image of the Ishaj protocol where after gating using that bead, that single platform that I'm telling you about, they could isolate the CD34 stem cells. First they used 133 and 34 to isolate the stem cell, and then they used a single platform with a bead to isolate okay, this is CD34 positive. So CD34 positive cells are 2 into 5 into 10 to power 6 per kg of body weight is adequate for CD34 cells. अच्छा, apart from CD34 stem cells, हमें और क्या देखना है? What else is important? Quantitation of CD3 positive cells in the final graft product is also necessary to assess adequacy of T cell depletion. We need to T cell deplete. Okay. While B cell enumeration is also performed, if B cell depletion is there, then chances of EBV induced PTLD is high. So when जो graft हमें मिल रहा है उसमें we have to see T cell कितना है, B cell. Now I'll tell you a concept. There's something called DLI, donor lymphocyte infusion. Recipient में donor lymphocyte भी डाले जाते हैं जब GVHT ज़्यादा हो रहा होता है. क्या रीजन है? हमारे अंदर बॉडी में किलर टी सेल्स को काउंटर करने के लिए डोनर लिम्फोसिटिक हेल्पर सेल्स डाले जाते हैं ताकि ग्राफ्ट वर्सेस होस्ट डिजीज ना हो. ये जो टी सेल डिप्लीशन का कॉन्सेप्ट है, इसको धीरे धीरे अब खत्म किया जा रहा है. CD8 जो किलर सेल्स होते हैं हमारे T killer cells, they are the ones responsible for that mounting immunosuppressive response. So if you want to, make the donor immunosuppressed for T cell, let it be T killer cells, not T helper cells. And in contrary, on top of that, if there is a GVHT, give donors helper T cells to the recipient, which will counteract हमारा जो killer cell कोशिश कर रहा है donor के marrow को reject करने की, and hence you might prevent a GVHT. This is what I have understood about donor lymphocyte infusion and the presence of CD3 positive cells. And then of course, apart from CD34 cells, some people have used GM-CSF, that is colony stimulating factors for granulocyte and monocyte, to be transfused into the patients, which will lead to another new marrow generation. And over here is the amount of cells that flow cytometry should catch, and then only can you transfuse the patient with that sample. Okay, for the care of such patients, of course, blood culture, CBCs, all the tests, nose swabs, cultures, and all that should be done. Fungal infections, viral infections, and post-transplant lymphomas are very common. GVHDs are very common, so you really need to, follow up a transplant patient and keep them on long-term immunosuppressive agents. Now comes my favorite part as a pathologist. Marrow में क्या changes होते हैं? Like when you get a case of transplant, what do you see in the marrow? In day 0 to 7, the marrow should come from here to here. So there are two patients. The marrow should, go from here to here, or from, अगर 30 साल का है तो at least 70% cellularity तो होनी चाहिए. But वो होती 70 नहीं है, 70 से it will be less because it's a transplanted marrow. Basically what you want to do is go from here to here, or from here to here, with no less than 5% morphologically blast and no MRD. Okay. So day 0 to 7, of course, since you've ablated the marrow, this is for ablative marrow, जिसको हमने chemo and radiation देके marrow खत्म की है ताकि नया stem cells आ सके. That is ablation. You will get cell death, fibrinoid necrosis, past positive material. Anywhere where there's death, macrophages will come to eat up the hemorrhage, the RBCs, the debris. Whenever you get hurt, you get edema and hemorrhage in that area. Same goes for marrow, which is being hurt by the treatment. And of course, some mild fibrosis, you might get osteocyte necrosis. Slowly on the 7th day, the adipocyte, which is the first thing, the stromal element to come back, starts coming back. In the second week, you will get some focus in a good responding marrow, which is reconstituting after transplant. You will get some focus of immature hematopoietic elements and a lot of macrophages, because now they are trying to clear up the debris. And in 28 days, expansion of the hematopoietic islands, complete myeloid erythroid maturation, and the fibrosis, the macrophages, the gelatinous pink material, and all that will go. Lastly, the megakaryocyte regenerates. Okay, this I really like. Remember, when you get hurt, there is a lot of edema and hemorrhage in that area, which slowly progresses towards healing by first stromal elements coming, then the skin forming, and then finally there's scarring and some left. So from edema, you get cells which remove debris, that is macrophages. Then you get some stromal elements, that is adipose. Then immature cells, they are your precursors, which will generate into mature cells. The first to regenerate in this case are myeloid and erythroid. Remember, after chemotherapy, I had made a lecture on that also. Erythroid comes first, then megs come, then myeloid, and then come the megs. But here, or sometimes the megs come first and then comes the myeloid. Here, myeloid and erythroid come first, and megs are the last to come. Okay. This is marrow necrosis. You see there are no osteocytes over here, no osteoclasts. So this is kind of a necrosis, and this is how pink, intensely pink fibrinoid necrosis looks. Okay. Now, bone marrow reconstitution is not only monitored through biopsy and aspirate, but also through something known as ANC and immature reticulocyte fraction. I'm going to read this out for you. IRF is an indicator of engraftment, precedes absolute. Before ANC becomes normal or starts increasing, you'll get a lot of immature reticulocytes. So erythroid, then myeloid, then megakaryocyte. So you should get a lot of immature reticulocytes and immature cells and platelets in the smear. Post-transplant, increase in ANC to 0.5 into 10 to the power 9 or greater is considered a successful myeloid engraftment. मतलब 0.5 into 10 to the power 9 से ज़्यादा होना चाहिए ANC. IRF doubling time first of 2 consecutive days during which the IRF value doubles, that is after 48 hours of transplant. Predict myeloid engraftment several days before ANC, means agar reticulocyte recover kar gaya hai, then be sure that myeloid will also recover. It is a useful indicator even in platelet transfusion and complications like sepsis. That is for IPF, not IRF, immature platelet fraction. But here IRF and ANC are more important. Also remember, IRF dyspoesis, erythroid dyspoesis may be बहुत role play करता है. If IRF is less, even after all the treatment that you've given, this is off the topic, means there's some sort of dyspoesis going on in the erythroid lineage. As I said, strong indicator of post-chemotherapy aplasia in children with cancer. Okay. In patients mobilized with chemotherapy and growth factors for peripheral blood stem cells harvest, an increase in immature reticulocyte fraction was reported to precede this they are just telling you that even when we are priming the patients with chemotherapy, we have to see कि जिसको stem cell मिलनी है कि इसका pre-transplant भी what is the IRF, and if it is increasing and then the CD34 cells are increasing, it is a good thing, means marrow इसका recover कर जाएगा, ठीक है, and 2 days 48 hours is the time. Post transplant also immunoglobulin secretions, because ये एकदम बच्चे की तरह marrow हो जाता है. It's a marrow of a newborn, again a new marrow. So the B cell recovery is also like Ig1, G3 and IgM levels will come back first, then A, G2 and G4, just like it happens in a neonate. Okay. Okay, now testing graft, I told you by using these molecular techniques we test for 2 subsets of chromosomes present, 2 different, matlab mine and then someone else's, just to see that there are 2 population of cells, and these are the methods: FISH, RFLP, VNTR, etc., which you use. Okay. Failure will occur if there is graft versus host disease, then you will get a lot of vessel injury and problems. There may be some residual bone marrow disease still there, which was even after itna therapy, which proliferated on immunosuppression. Graft was not accepted, I've told you. Minimal residual disease, at least 10 to the power -3 cells were detected as malignant even after transplant. Hematogones, only hematogones are there, and they are not maturing into mature cells. The myelofibrosis can be there, or post-therapy AML may develop too much toxicity in a myeloablative marrow, leading to stromal damage, edema, plasma cells, plasmacytosis, neutrophils dying, EBV in causing PTLDs. These are reasons for failure. PTLD can be reactive type, early lesion where a lot of plasma cells, or infective mononucleosis type. Polymorphic means a mixture of cells but still a lymphoma. Monomorphic means can be like a B cell like DLBCL, Burkitt like, मतलब ऐसे cells देखेंगे, plasma cell myeloma को mimic कर सकता है, Hodgkin's lymphoma develop हो सकता है, या कोई T cell neoplasm develop हो. All of this is EBV induced in a transplant case. Hematogones, see, this is a hematogone, which is a large blast-like cell, maybe with fine vacuoles, although they are not vacuoles, they are artifacts, and no nucleoli. Blast has a nucleoli, and this is a normal lymphocyte. The best way, see, this is a very good chart. This is in the same paper. Go and read this paper, and you will see the difference between hematogones and precursor B cells. To me, practically, this is experience. When I look at a marrow, even post chemo, कि ये blast है कि hematogone, I look for 2 things. क्या ये इस तरीके से टेढ़ा मेढ़ा बन रहा है like a downy cell, या इसमें बहुत बड़ा cell है और nucleoli है कि नहीं. Third, I look for the company the cell keeps. That is, if all the lineages are present, and scattered among those lineages are these cells, and they are probably regenerative hematogones. Because if there are blasts, then normally the marrow won't regenerate to its normal state. Fourth thing, I always cross-check with imprint and biopsy, because hematogones will never form paratrabecular seams in a biopsy. Over here, मतलब गोल 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 सिर्फ दिख रहा है, but blasts can form paratrabecular seams or marrow necrosis. All that is not a feature of hematogones. Okay, so always remember, blast-like cells, but with bilkul normal marrow regeneration, are probably hematogones, not blasts. Of course, flow cytometry, where you see for CD34 and TDT, is 100%. Hematogones are actually B cell lineage precursors. So next thing that you see, this is from the net a little blurred, that from CD34 and TDT, ये end में एकदम CD19, 20, 22, 10 सब इस पर develop हो जाता है. And this forms a mature B cell. So you have to look for that waterfall pattern of it developing all the maturity markers of B cell, which a blast won't have. okay, because it's a blast. MRD I told you, by flow cytometry you have to detect morphologically 5% से कम blast होने चाहिए, and if you are going for fish Surin blotting PCR 10 to the power minus 2 to 10 to the power minus 6 cells have been applied as a criteria, and 10 to the power minus 3 to minus 4 अगर मिल गए तो फिर you have to think about MRD, मतलब blast जैसे cells. Clusters of more than 5 CD34 or TDT positive cells usually denote a malignancy. As I said, वो syncytium में होते हैं blast, hematogone scattered होते हैं. And then this is just a chart to tell you कि MRD negative कितने cases हुए थे in a AML case. Then जब donor lymphocyte दिया in a case जहाँ MRD हो रही थी, तो in a grafted patient, तो वो बंदा improve कर गया and became MRD negative, मतलब donor lymphocyte ने कुछ किया वहाँ जाके. So that is the role of a donor lymphocyte being very useful. This is the paper, and I thank Roger S. Riley a lot for writing it. This is not for downloading, this is just for reading. Apart from the Google images, just please go and read this paper. I have not told you a lot of things because you already 36 minutes ka lecture ho gaya hai. You know, please go and read, and you know, we can keep discussing this paper on and off in other lectures also, or on Messenger, or in comment section, because I am a fan of this paper. This guy, it is really well written. So I hope for residents now you know something, even if it is tip of the iceberg for BMT. I promise you I will keep reading more on this and coming up with more knowledge as जो भी मुझे extra मिलेगा. इस paper से बहुत कुछ है which I have not yet told you, because it is huge. It is 33 pages long paper. So go and read, and I'll keep telling you tidbits from this paper which I have missed in other lectures also in the end, maybe one slide every time. But this is interesting, and this is the future of hematology. So go and read about it. Okay. Okay. So thank you, and I hope you like this lecture.